Anyone familiar with Monster Hunter knows that it has always struggled to introduce new players to the game's bottomless well of mechanics, options, and features. The series is notoriously complex with many interlocking systems: the weapon and armor upgrades, buddies, mercenaries, trading, meals, talismans, decorations, weapons, status ailments, elemental weaknesses, skills, online multiplayer, even just the controls. There's a lot to manage and consider. As someone with prior experience, this isn't so much of a hurdle anymore, but it got me thinking about the relationship between complexity and beginner friendliness, and how games like Monster Hunter can service the various skill levels in the player base. Having just finished my video duology on that game company, it was sort of an interesting whiplash coming from something like Flower to the demanding gameplay of Monster Hunter Rise, and observing these extremes had me wondering, is it possible for games to become too complicated? And more importantly, is it ever detrimental? Well, I do think that players should never be overwhelmed at any given time, or made to manage something too radical. I'm a proponent of reducing fluff if it's not supportive of the core gameplay. Thankfully for Monster Hunter, just about everything feeds into the addictive loop of hunting monsters and collecting materials for better gear, so most of the busy work done in between hunts feels meaningful and generally worthwhile. When faced with inconveniences or managerial duties, players should be able to recognize their place and purpose in elevating the gameplay. Monster Hunter Rise actually omits a mechanic from the older games where hunters had to use cold and hot drinks to counteract harsh temperatures in the environment. I suppose it brought a degree of realism, but in practice it's just another arbitrary inconvenience that takes them away from the monster fights every now and then, made redundant by weapon sharpening that does the same thing, except that mechanic is more for weapon balance. It's important to recognize which ideas accentuate the game's focus and which ones distract from it. In this case, the focus is hunting and searching for materials, and since cold and hot drinks don't really follow that, they were wisely removed. At this point in the series' history, I would say that the complexities in Monster Hunter are overall good and welcome features, so the real question is, how does it teach itself to new players? And that's where things get messy. Monster Hunter Rise's idea of a tutorial is bombarding the player with walls of text whenever they encounter anything new, at a rate that can't possibly be retained. Aside from a handful of training quests, there's a prevailing expectation that players more or less be self-taught, particularly when it comes to the weapons and combat, providing a training area that allows hunters to practice in a safe and controlled environment. I appreciate the lengths it goes to make information available, but there has to be a better way to walk beginners through it all, maybe with demonstrational videos or something. Fortunately, Monster Hunter is home to a thriving online community that are more than willing to help. However, that's not guaranteed to every player, and no one should be forced to browse YouTube videos to educate themselves. That's the game's job. As uncommon as it is, Monster Hunter has to be able to work as an isolated experience. The franchise is in a difficult spot where it has to appeal to both new and old players alike. Capcom's philosophy is to keep adding new features to satiate longtime fans, an approach that has kept the franchise fresh and exciting for those invested, but in doing so, they are raising the barrier to entry for newcomers. The logical solution is to gradually make these advanced features unlockable by progressing the campaign, but that could frustrate seasoned veterans who just want to pick up each new installment and hit the ground running with all the tools they're familiar with. At the very least, I think Rise should have emphasized and expanded the training quests to ensure that everyone basically knows how to play. As far as weapons go, perhaps the game could recognize when players pick up a new weapon for the first time, and offer a training session that guides them through its capabilities. Is complexity inherently detrimental? Absolutely not. In fact, it's healthy if done sensibly and intuitively. Nearly every aspect of Monster Hunter's design is complementary, and it makes the process of mastering it all a joy in and of itself. Complexity is often what gives a game life, by allowing players to deepen their experience and enjoy it longer. The challenge, of course, is that it automatically extends the learning process, leaving developers to structure tutorials that respect the time of both veterans and and novices. I hope that Capcom can figure out an elegant solution to get newcomers past the introductory stage, because as a fan, I want everyone to have the chance to understand why Monster Hunter is so special at a proficient level.